So we're out here now at Joe Hill's in Bardstown, Kentucky. Check out all of these different attachments. They've got brush cutters, land planes, mowers, tillers. They've got everything down here. I've actually never seen so many different attachments in one place. I think I'm going to get one of these land planes. I want to try one of those. I think it would be awesome on that gravel road that I fool with all the time. Let me go see if I can get somebody to help me. Yeah, I mean, they got grapples, and like I said, they got tillers. There's grapples, and down there some grapples. You got the stump grinder. Look at the teeth on that thing. That would take care of a stump real quick. I could spend a lot of money down here. This is the first one I've actually seen in person that has those new R14 tires on it. I really like those, but they're just really hard to find on in-stock tractors, and the way supply is right now, you can't hardly get any of them either. 2401. This is an interesting size for a tractor right here. It's bigger than a subcompact, but it's smaller than a compact. It's kind of like an in-betweener. If I was in the market for a subcompact and I knew I was going to get a Kubota, I would skip on up to this though, because you can tell it's just built a little heavier, a little more tractor weight. Interestingly, it's got a gear drive. Almost all of these that you see are hydro, but this one's a gear drive. And actually, in a Kubota, I like that better because you don't have that stupid treadle in your way over there. You can actually put your feet on the floorboard like you're supposed to be able to. So if I was going to get a Kubota, I think I would go with that gear drive. Pretty cool. Got telescoping stabilizers. Hey, that's not bad. Not a bad little tractor, really. Quick park loader. It's got the skid steer style bucket on it. Huh. How about that? This is probably the nicest little compact tractor they've got. I mean, their inventory, like the inventory at most places right now, is pretty much wiped out. They've got a couple of big tractors and a couple of little tractors, and then a whole bunch of the little subcompacts. And that's all they've got left. I'm telling you, man, it's a crazy time right now. All right, what's up? Got it home. We made it. If you're ever curious about whether or not a 6-foot box blade, or excuse me, a 6-foot land plane will fit in the back of a truck, there you go. It does fit, and this is a 5.5-foot bed too. So if you had a full-size bed, you could even close the tailgate. Now we just got to figure out how to get it off of here without letting it tilt one way or the other. I think I'm just going to put some straps on each corner and try to rig something up with my straps, because that's about all I've got. Hopefully the bucket will go up high enough to get it off here. Hey, I'm kind of proud. That actually worked out really good. Had AJ help me keep it from like swapping, like swinging around, like flopping is what I was trying to say. Because when you pick something like this up, it always has a tendency to tilt or flop. So he held onto the corner. He stood out here and held onto the corner, and then we just pulled it right off there. That's a heavy thing. I mean, it's like 600 pounds, so it's a pretty heavy attachment, really. But it's off the truck, ready to use. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be so much better than that box blade. I'm probably going to wish I bought one of these a long time ago. Well, we successfully got the land plane all hooked up to the tractor. The method of connecting to the 3-point hitch on this land plane is much simpler than the pin style that we have on the box blade over there. So that was a pleasant surprise. And I got a Pat's quick hitch on order, so that should make it even easier, I'm hoping. So unfortunately, it's getting dark, and don't have time to go out and play with it today and try it out. So we will resume tomorrow doing that part. But I'm just glad this is said and done. I've been looking at these box blades. I keep saying box blade because it's a habit. I've been looking at land planes for a long time, and right now, the way supply is, the wait on one of these, if you order it online, is like anywhere from 1 to as much as 3 months. And I just so happened to find one in stock at my dealer down the road, my local Kubota dealer. It's orange, but I don't think the blue tractor will care. It'll get the job done one way or the other. Nice and easy there, son. Turn the light back on so you can see where you're going. We don't have electricity in this barn yet. That's one of the things that's on the to-do list. So when it gets dark outside, it gets darker in here. That'll work. All right, fellas, we're headed in the house for the night, but we'll be back later. Thanks for watching. Well, it's a beautiful day out here. A little bit windy, but otherwise a gorgeous day. So let's get this land plane out and try it. I'm anxious to see if it's gonna work or not. So hopefully the wind isn't too bad, but you guys can kind of see what I've got going on here. If you've been watching the videos I've been posting recently, you've seen this road. I mean, it's kind of a typical gravel road that gets a lot of traffic. It's really worn down here and compacted. You can still see some of the stone in the middle where it's not driven over so much. Up through there you can see the lines where I had the rippers down on the box blade, trying to rough it up so that I could, you know, get the gravel to come back up. But then the box blade is just so hard to use that once you do rip it up, it's hard to get a nice smooth finish on it. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm dealing with. Like I said, pretty typical. If I walk on down through here, you can see some places where it's washed out. And actually you can see where the water runs through here. It might be kind of hard to see because of the shadowing of the trees, but hopefully you can see that. The camera might not do it justice, but there's a little bit of a storm water runoff drainage path right through there. So anyway, I'm gonna hit this with this land plane a little bit and just see what happens. You know, obviously on up through there I've got some potholes, and some of those have already been partially filled in with the box blade, but it's just really rough and needs a lot of work, to be completely honest. This road has been here for decades, but it's been heavily traveled for about 20 years now, maybe a little over 20 years. So it's really compacted, and like I said, it's just been here a long time, and it hasn't really had the maintenance that it needs. So I guess I'm gonna give it a shot with this land plane and see what happens. So I got the ripper teeth set to where they are pretty much even with the blades on the bottom. I'm gonna try that first and see what happens. And if I need to, I might set the ripper teeth down one more notch, but I don't want to dig real deep. I just want to kind of put a finish on it. So let's see what happens. I said, I've got the ripper teeth set to where they're pretty much even, but you can see here it's picking up a lot of material on this front blade, not really doing much on the back blade. So I'm going to try to adjust my top link a little bit to kind of get to level out a little bit more. But I mean, it's already doing a much better job than that box blade. So once I get this thing figured out, I think it's going to be awesome. Let's see if we can do a little adjustment here on this. Should have brought my tools with me. That thing is awfully tight right now. There it goes. Sometimes these jam nuts are really tight. All right, what I want to do here is kind of lengthen this thing out just a little bit. So I want to try and get that rear blade back there to kick in and do something. I'm going to leave this jam nut kind of loose for now until I get it where I want it, and then I'll tighten it down. But I mean, I think it's already looking pretty good. There we go. Now you can see that the rear blade is picking up a little bit of material also. Unfortunately, because I'm in the shadow, it's probably not picking up real well on camera, so I'm going to record some more when I turn around and go the other direction. That way the sun will be shining back here and you can see a little better. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so real quick here, you can see why it is that I wanted one of these that had the ripper teeth on it, because now I'm getting into some more compacted and harder material, and you can see that the blades are not really getting down on the ground. And so if I didn't have the ripper teeth, they wouldn't scrape anything right now. They just skim right over the top. You know, so the ripper teeth, I felt like were probably going to be a necessity to break up the top layer first, and then the blades would be able to dig in and do their work. And I think that ended up being correct. It looks like that's going to be a good call. So because this road has been neglected and hasn't had the proper leveling and maintenance on it for so long, I'm probably going to have to do several passes with this land plane to get it where I want it. But I mean, you can see already back through there, I mean, just the first pass, it already looks a lot better, you know? So this tool, I mean, it's super awesome. And like I said, I'll shoot some more video here in a minute when I turn around so you can see it in action a little bit better. All right, now you ought to be able to see it work pretty well. Traffic came by right there. One of my neighbors came by. I'll pause right here. I mean, you can see, again, this is really compacted material, and this is the very first pass. And the land plane is doing a fantastic job. So I'll give this a couple more passes and it'll look fantastic. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get done here in a little while. Well, progress has come to a halt because I've already lost a bolt out of a blade. See that bolt right there? It fell out. You're supposed to have these all the way across. So, partially my fault. I should have double checked. The dealership took it back into the shop and told me they were going to go over it and inspect it, make sure it was ready to use. And I just took their word for it. So it's partially my fault. I should have gone down through there and checked all the bolts to make sure they were tight. Now, miraculously, I noticed it pretty quick, so I walked up through there and I found the bolt. But I have not found the nuts. Although the bolt is more difficult to locate at an auto parts store or a hardware store than a nut would be. I could find a nut pretty easy for this. So I'm glad that I at least found the bolt. I might take one more walk up through here and just see if I get lucky and maybe find the nut and the washer that goes on here. But for now, I guess I'm done because I'm gonna have to go back to the shop, back to the garage up here, and tighten all my bolts down. But man, this thing was doing a really great job. I gotta flatten this out before I go back to the house. But it was doing a great job. I mean, you can see here, it's the perfect consistency right now too, because it's got a little bit of moisture in it. It's not completely dried out. You know, if it's too wet, then the blades will just dig up mud and it'll get all jammed up. But if it's too dry, it'll just kind of bounce over top of the ground. So it really needs to be like just a little bit damp, just a little bit of moisture in the ground, I think. And it works really well. So I'm gonna go tighten all the bolts down and maybe go over this a couple more times. But man, very, very nice results. So much better than the box blade. This is probably gonna end up being one of the best attachments that I've bought for this tractor. So yeah, the land plane is the real deal. I just gotta tighten all my stuff down so I don't lose my hardware. Well, I'm not having any luck at all finding that nut that I lost, so I'm gonna go back to the garage and get a magnet. I've got a big magnet on a pole that I use to pick up nails and stuff with. And I'm gonna bring it down here and just walk down through here and see if I get lucky. Alright, so here's the finished product. This is that same area from earlier when I was getting ready to get started. And you can see now it's just, look at that. The land plane just works it all back up. And I mean, it looks like it's just had gravel put on it, but it's the existing gravel. And that's the awesome thing about this land plane. Now you can see over here where the, this is where the side of the land plane was dragging down through there, but I mean, as soon as the tires from the vehicles run over that, it'll fill back in. But that ditch where the water was running is gone. And I mean, like I said, it looks awesome. So I'm super happy with this thing. I really am. It's a fantastic tool, so much easier to use than the box blade. You just put it all the way down and go. You know, the main thing with this land plane is just adjusting your top link and your ripper teeth where you want them. And I had to play around with that top link just a little bit. I kind of like it where both blades are kind of getting an equal amount of material as you're going along. Some guys like to raise the rear of the land plane up so the front blade is getting most of the action, but I kind of like it where both of them are equally going through it. It seems like it sifts through the material better that way. But yeah, man, I mean, it's awesome. So don't know what else to say about it. It's just a great tool, and I wish I had one a long time ago. But that's gonna be it for now. It's getting dark again, as you can see. The days are getting longer, but you know, it still gets dark pretty early. So I guess I'm done for the day. Time to head back to the barn. We'll talk to you later.